Game of Fours Phat Cruiser Edition. G'day trendsetters, Phat Cruiser here, your friendly Illawarra motovlogger. How you going today, guys? So, I was tagged the other day in a video by one iRide of Tasmania, and he's challenged me to play a Game of Fours. So here is my rendition. So just to explain what Game of Fours actually is, oddly enough there are 5 topics, and each of those 5 topics I have to give 4 responses. So, let's start.
Round 1.
Topic number 1. 4 favourite foods. Well, I always like to start the day with a nice big breakfast. They don't call me Phat Cruiser for nothing. Phat Cruiser by name, Phat Cruiser by nature. Nice bacon, eggs, sausages, hash browns, beans, the whole 9 yards. Nothing like it. Unbelievable. Number 2. As I've heard most of the guys who have partaken in this idea, steak. Can't go past a good medium well cooked steak with some nice steak cut fries, some salad, and a bit of Diane sauce. Unbelievable. Number 3. Saute anything. Anything. Can be chicken on a skewer, can be beef with noodles and rice, or saute anything. Love my saute, love my peanut sauce. Saute anything. Number 3. Number 4, I'd have to say, would be a dish called schnatzlets. Now, schnatzlets is a dish of Swiss heritage, because that's basically the background that I have. My father is Swiss. So schnatzlets is a veal dish cooked with cream and wine, generally served with a potato, like a shredded potato dish called rösti. Beautiful, nothing like it, unbelievable. So that's my 4 foods.
Round 2.
Moving on to the next round. 4 favourite drinks. Let's get back to starting the day. Starting the day, I've got to have at least 2 cups of coffee. Now, I own a coffee pod machine, and I have a cupboard stacked full of about 10 to 12 boxes of coffee pods. Love my coffee. Can't start the day without it. So that's number 1. Number 2, obvious, water. We all need it to survive. I love water. Drink it all the time, usually to try and keep my belly full so I don't end up eating too much. So water, number 2. Number 3, I love me a brew. So for me, number 3 is beer. I usually do drink beer of the low calorie variety. So we're talking your pure blondes, your Hans super dries, stuff like that. But I do like my European beers as well. So number 3 is beer. Oh, wind's picked up. Number 4 favourite drink would be bourbon. And I'm not just talking your standard run-of-the-mill bourbon. I like my top shelf bourbons. So we're talking Gentleman Jack, Maker's Mark. Now, I tend to not spoil it by having it with a mixer. If anything, I'll have it with ice only, and just sip it like a gentleman. So that's number 4. Bourbon.
Round 3.
Moving on to round number 3. Places that I have been. So, I mean, obviously, if we're a place is anywhere, I guess, but if we're going to talk about traveling overseas, for instance, probably the first time I ever went overseas was, I think it was in '98. Now, some of my mates might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was '98, and we went off to Bali. An unforgettable trip. We ended up going to the Sari Club, which is the club that got blown up by those extremists over there. But it was unbelievable that night. I got very sick, very drunk. That was a night of about 18 tequila shots and something that we coined jungle juice that was just kind of being passed around the dance floor. So Bali, number 1, places I've been. Number 2, Fiji. So I've actually been to Fiji twice. The first time I went to Fiji was on a cruise with an ex-girlfriend. That was many moons ago. And the second time was just a couple of years ago when I went there with my children. Great place, beautiful people, and it was a fun time. You know, we did zip lining, we did river tours, cave tours, island tours, and it was only like a 5-night stay, but we packed those 5 nights and 6 days with as much as we could, and we had an amazing time. It was awesome. Number 3, I guess I'd have to make a mention of Vanuatu and New Caledonia. I'll chuck them both in together because they were just basically stopovers on that cruise I was just speaking about when I first went to Fiji. So I didn't really get to see too much of those places. They were just day trips, but you know, I've been there, so I'll include it. Number 4 is Auckland, New Zealand. I had the pleasure of going to Auckland just at the beginning of this year, 2016, and I took my kids and my father over to watch the NRL Auckland Nines rugby league competition. Now what I saw of Auckland was pretty cool. You know, I was only there for the weekend to watch the footy, so we didn't really do any tours or anything like that, but you know, it's a nice place, good people, great time at the footy. So Auckland's number 4.
Round 4.
Righto, moving on to round number 4. 4, that's 4 fingers. Places that I have lived. So I've only ever lived in New South Wales, Australia. I guess when I was born and as I was growing up as a very young child, up to probably the age of about 8 or 9, I spent most of my time in the inner western suburbs of Sydney, places like Canterbury, Belmore, Punchbowl. When I was about 8 or 9, we moved out to southwestern Sydney in the Liverpool and Fairfield areas. So I lived in suburbs like Edensor Park, Hoxton Park and Green Valley. When I left home, I decided I was going to go and move into my own unit in Parramatta, which is kind of like Sydney's second major city hub. So Parramatta, I was there for a total of 3 months. Moved into a unit, signed a 12-month lease, moved in, decided I was going to move out after 3 months to go and move in with the mother of my children. But that's a complete other story that I'm not even going to get into. And number 4 of places that I have lived would be out here in this beautiful area. I mean, today is a shithouse day, as you can see, but Shellharbour. And this is where I've been for the last 5 or 6 years, and don't show any sign of having an intention of leaving either. So Shellharbour, number 4. Okay, so round 5, names that I go by. Well, obviously I go by my first name. You'll understand if I don't want to give that out for personal reasons. So my first name is one. My surname, another one that I won't share with you guys, but that's the other name that I go by, and most of my long-term friends call me by my surname. Number 3 would be a shortened version of my first name, and my family probably call me that pet name most often. And then of course number 4, Phat Cruiser, none other than. So now I'm supposed to call out 4 more people to play Game of Fours, and I will say that I'm blatantly calling out one of them who has quite a following here in this country and abroad as well. So the first guy I'd like to call out is 2B1 on Roadie. If if you'd like to play a game of fours, here is your invitation. Next, I'd like to call out a motovlogger from the lovely state of Queensland, and that's Ninja Life Crisis. You're on for game of fours, mate. Third of all, I'd like to put a call out to a UK motovlogger, Spectre223. You're on, buddy. And last but certainly not least, a motovlogger recently moved to Sydney, as I understand, and who I've shown quite a bit of support for in the last few weeks, and that's Audi 555. Mate, I'd like you to play game of fours with us. So that's it for me, guys. That's my rendition of a game of fours. If you liked what you saw here, give it a good thumbs up, share it around your social media, leave me a comment, and make sure you are subscribed. It's Phat Cruiser. I'll catch you on the flip side.